Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm very excited to finally be filming this video. Basically, we're going to be talking about my 2018 favorites. So I feel like in the year of 2018, I didn't do as many favorites videos. I want to make sure that you guys still like seeing those, and I will continue to do them monthly as long as you like them. But I really just kind of went through and grabbed my favorite products, things that I used throughout the year, things that I kept going back to. I'm not really going to do this in categories. I'm just going to kind of pull out things as I go along. I have quite a few eyeshadow palettes, obviously some lipsticks, highlights, different things like that. But I'm very excited to share them with you guys. And I'm finally going to be doing my makeup collection video in a declutter, and I feel like it's just going to get down to like the root of all the products that I truly love and need, and I'm very excited about that. You guys know the year of 2019 has brought a lot of change, like we're working on our house and all kinds of different things. But anyways, really quick before I get started, I do want to say welcome to my channel. If you're new, make sure to leave a comment down below what your favorite product from 2018 was. Even if you're not new to my channel, I would love to see y'all's favorites in the comments. I do post 3 times a week, so Wednesdays, Fridays, and mail hauls on Monday. And as always, click the bell notification down below so you're notified as soon as the video goes live. But I'm excited. This video is going to be sponsored by Scentbird, so I wanted to give them a quick shout out, and let's dive in. So like I said, Scentbird is sponsoring this video, so I wanted to talk about one thing that is normally a constant, no matter if it's 2017, 18, 19. I do love Scentbird. I've actually worked with them quite a few times. As you can see, I have a lot of their containers for their perfumes. And if you guys haven't heard of Scentbird, they're a perfume subscription that basically lets you date a perfume before committing to a full-size bottle, which I think is great because I cannot tell you the last time I actually purchased a full-size bottle of perfume. I have some perfumes behind me, but they were actually sent to me, and it's probably been like maybe 2 years since I bought a full bottle of perfume. It's been a while. And the reason why is because I love using Scentbird. So they are a monthly subscription. And basically on your first month, they send you a little vial that looks like this. It has Scentbird on it. Kind of give you a close up so you can see. And you can just twist this up and you have your perfume. Gosh, I love perfumes. Honestly, I love using Scentbird because it's hard for me to actually smell perfumes. A lot of you guys may know this, but when I was younger, I broke my nose. And so some perfumes I actually can't smell. Like I would actually have to spray a ton of perfume, which would probably choke most people in order for me to smell them. And that's why I like using Scentbird, because I can try these perfumes out before deciding if I really, really like it. So this one's actually very strong. I'll pull this out of the bottle so you can see it actually comes like this. And this one, I'm not going to butcher the name of, I'm just going to show it to you guys, but it smells really, really good. Normally my favorite one that I've found is typically Juicy Couture, but this one's very strong and I do really like it. Yeah, you can just twist this back down, put it in your purse, and take it on the go, which I like, because who wants to lug around a huge perfume bottle? Definitely not me. But yeah, I love Scentbird. It's very convenient, and I've tried so many different perfumes that I really, really liked, but the main thing is finding the one that you love. That way you aren't going to spend a ton of money on something that you aren't going to use for a long time. So Scentbird, they do have over 450 different fragrances. They have luxury designer brands, so like Tom Ford, Juicy Couture, Prada, Gucci. I mean, you name it, Scentbird probably has it on their site. And they did give me a 30% off discount code, so I will leave that down below. But they have expanded recently, so I know they do more than just perfumes. I think they have hand lotions and candles and a few other things, but definitely love Scentbird, so I wanted to give them a quick shout out because, like I said, they're something that I know and love. I keep these in my purse in case I need to touch up throughout the day on my fragrance. So thank you so much to Scentbird for sponsoring this video, and let's dive into the makeup favorites. Okay, so I tried to just grab things that I know that I love throughout the entire year. Okay, so the first thing, some of these I haven't even shown you guys that I've been loving since, like I said earlier, I've been a little bit behind on favorites, but I have loved the Charlotte Tilbury Stars in Your Eyes palette. Here is what it looks like. And you guys, I've just been using this so much. To me, it's a really good go-to palette for an everyday basis. And you can create so many different looks that are like more neutrally and work appropriate, in my opinion. So here's what the palette looks like. I'll give you guys an up close. And this is a very expensive palette. I am going to have some palettes in here that are not as expensive, but I think this one retails for around $75. So I just wanted to go ahead and put that out there. But I've been loving it because, you know, I stay around the neutral shades. So I'll always go in with this one right here. And then I typically go in with these other two, and those are like my main base of my eye. And then they have some really pretty shimmer shades. I'm going to swatch a couple of these right now for you guys. They're just very buttery, and they are really creamy and just pigmented, especially the mattes. Like the mattes are really pigmented, as you can see. I do wear purples a lot, so I like that they have this little purple section in here as well. And they have some like golds. It's just a really good palette that anyone I feel like can get a lot of use out of. I mean, seriously, so beautiful. This is really the first time I've ever gravitated towards Charlotte Tilbury shadows, but like I said, I never really was drawn to a palette until I saw this one. I knew I had to have it when I saw it because obviously, like, look at this. And it's something that I normally grab for on like a day-to-day basis. So the Charlotte Tilbury Stars in Your Eyes palette. Love this. And like I said, some of these are like new favorites that you guys may not know about because it's been a while since I did my favorites. So the next one is actually a Morphe palette, so much more affordable. This is the Happy Hour 15H palette. I don't know, I think that's basically the name. I'll try to leave a link down below for all the products that we talk about, but here is what it looks like. And this, again, perfect everyday palette for me. As you can tell, I've been getting a lot of use out of it. There's definitely some dents in those pans. So what I'll typically do is start out by going in with this like peachy shade. Reminds me a lot of Peach Smoothie by Makeup Geek, which, I mean, who doesn't know about that shade? That used to be like a holy grail shade. Then I'll go into Cheers. And as you can see, I normally find like a base of like, hey, I normally use these three colors, and then I go in with different lid shades. But these are really creamy, you guys. Like, look at that. Really, really pretty colors right there, and definitely like more of my brown shades. And then I typically rotate between these three like peachy shades. They're beautiful. And here's what they look like. Oh, I have eyeshadow all over my hand. Oh my goodness. So here are these three shades. And I'm just gonna swipe these side by side so you can see them. They're gorgeous. And just depending on what mood I'm in, sometimes I'll kind of put these in my brow bone as a brow bone highlight. But I have loved this palette. I actually got this in a Ipsy Glam Bag Plus bag a couple months ago, and I've been using it ever since, and I really, really liked it. I feel like because, I don't know, Sephora doesn't sell Morphe, I don't normally like reach out and buy Morphe products, because with Sephora I get the like 2-day shipping, and Ulta you have to spend like $50. It's just a much longer shipping. So I don't know, I feel like a lot of times I don't buy Morphe products, but because this actually came in a Glam Bag Plus, I'm really glad that it did because I've been using it a lot. Okay, next is going to be the highlighters that I've loved throughout the year. And again, these aren't done in sections. I have some more eyeshadow palettes and stuff, but I've been loving the Pixie Glowy Glossamer Duo. This is the Pixie Subtle Sunrise highlighter, and as you can see, there's some pretty nice indentions in here. I love this because, one, it's like a drugstore brand, but it is gorgeous, you guys. So pretty and vibrant, and it just gives you like the perfect bam in your face highlight. It is so freaking pigmented. Oh my gosh, I cannot even. Look how pretty this is, and it just blends. I have highlights that are like way, way, way more expensive that do not take my breath away like this does. This honestly reminds me almost of like this Tom Ford highlight that I have. I could just sit here and look at my hand for hours. That's how just amazed I am at this highlight. It is so pretty, and you get 2 highlights all in one package, so absolutely love this one. Another one that I got a ton of use out of is from Becca. As you can see, the little design of the Eiffel Tower has worn off. This is the Partian Lights highlight. I think I'm pronouncing that correctly, hopefully. And I do go a little bit more for like pinky type highlights, and this one again is just gorgeous. Very pretty. I've used this so much. I took it on almost every trip that I went on this summer. Very, very pretty. So those are like the 3 different highlights that stole my heart this year. I cannot stop staring at these in the viewfinder because they're just so pretty. Absolutely love them. Okay, so this year I actually started baking, and I'll say Huda Beauty stole my heart this year. I feel like a lot of her products I really gravitated to this year, and a lot of her products have become like holy grails for me. So they have the Banana Bread Easy Bake Loose Baking and Setting Powder. And I never was really that into baking, and I feel like this year was like the year I baked the most. I like setting underneath my eyes. Sometimes if you overdo it though, you can look kind of crepey, and then also sometimes sculpting out the cheekbone. I didn't do that today, but I feel like this powder to me is the best one for that. I feel like it was made with the baking mindset, and I really, really like it. It comes in a bunch of different colors, so you have something for every skin tone. I have not talked about this on my channel, but you guys, the Overachiever Concealer, I could not think of a more perfect name. You can tell how much I've been using this because can you see like how worn out Beauty is? It actually used to be pink. See how you can see just a little bit of pink in the Beauty right here? You can see a little bit of pink. Yeah, it's definitely wore off because this concealer is almost completely out. So this is the color Sugar Biscuit 12G. Oh my gosh, this has been like the only concealer I've used since it came out. I haven't touched another concealer really. It's what I'm wearing today. I feel like it covers up your dark circles. It's just very blendable. It blends so easy and fast. And I love the applicator. So the applicator is kind of cold. It's like a metal applicator. And you just squeeze it out and you can go like this underneath your eye. I feel like I like this method a lot better than like the doe foot applicators, but just the consistency, the creaminess, the overall feel of the product, how it goes on, how it blends out. To me, it's just like my perfect #1 concealer. Absolutely love it. So hands down, you guys have to try this if you don't have it. It's my favorite. As you can see, I'm very passionate about the products that I love. Okay, next has been a blush, and this is the Neo Blush by Kevyn Auction in the shade Rose Cliff. And these are very small blushes, but I really, really do like them because they're ombre blush. So just depending on how you want to wear it, you can get different tones in there. So obviously you have like a purpley tone, you have the pinky tone, and then you have more of like the highlighty tone, or you can kind of blend them all in together and you get something like this on the end. But I just love this. I feel like it shows up so well. And the fact that you get like a little bit of like a highlighty shade in there, I just like that look on the skin. Like I like whenever your blush and your highlight kind of look a little bit mixed together and just like glowy and just really pretty. I like a matte face, but I just feel like on the cheeks, I normally gravitate towards something that's more shimmery. So here's a close-up of kind of all the colors that you can use in this blush. Speaking of blush, I have to give these Diamond and Blush palettes a shout out because there was a time where I did not ever think I was going to put these down. I haven't really reached for these shades after the summertime just because of the colors, but these are so gorgeous. I had never used a cream blush until I started using these. I kind of almost have to get the layer off the top because I haven't used them in a while. But this is like what the blush looks like. And then this highlight, even though it is a purple highlight, you guys, I swear, this highlight is like my everything. So what I did a lot... I have got to start using this again. What I did a lot over the summer is used these all in combination. So I would put this one on right here, which is a cream blush, and it applies so pretty on the skin. And then I would top it off with like this like blush toppery shade. Let me get a little bit more on my pinky fingers so y'all can see. It definitely has like almost a highlight glow in it. Oh, you cannot tell me how gorgeous this is. And then for a highlight, I don't think you're ready. Oh, it's so pretty. And even though it's purple, I would mix it in with this other shade right here. And you couldn't really tell that it looked purple. I mean, it just gave me the most beautiful cheeks. Again, I need to start using this. I just love it. I've never found any cream products that I really love, but these I could not put down. So in love with them. This one particular palette is the 01 palette. And then they have a 02, and I use this some, not as much, because this one's definitely for darker skin tones. But again, the corally blush shade is just so pretty mixed in with this on top. And then the highlight is what I didn't really go for because that one just looked a little bit odd on me. Kind of show you guys there. So personally, if it were me, I would definitely get the 01 palette. It has been a palette I've gotten a ton of use out of because the pans are humongous, so you can't even really see how much I actually use because I was using it every day for a long time. But the 01 is 100% one of my favorites, and again, I need to start using it. I just feel like this color in the winter is a little bit off, but I don't even care because I love it so much. It needs to be like cleaned off because it is so dirty. But yeah, it's Definitely a favorite. So let's talk about bronzers. So this was a palette that I really got a lot of use out of this year from Tarte. This is the Park Avenue Princess. I've definitely recommended this to a lot of people because I feel like it's so versatile in the fact that you can kind of use these shades for bronzers or contour shades. You can use this to kind of highlight underneath the eyes and everything. And I think it's a really good kit, especially for the price. But I love all the bronzer shades, and I feel like with me, again, my color changes so often from winter to summer, just not using bronzer, that it's nice to have a few different options where if you get a little bit darker, you can use something a little bit darker. These shades are so pretty for contours and bronzers. I just cannot even. I actually recommended this to my friend Amanda. We went shopping for like a whole entire new makeup for her every day, and she got this palette and she loved it. So I would definitely recommend this. And again, it's been a favorite of mine. I also have really enjoyed the Be a Light palette by Becca. I feel like Becca's whole like aesthetic and how their products look are evolving a lot, and I've really enjoyed this again for bronzing. You can tell the products I use because the packaging looks kind of dirty, but this bronzer, I think this is probably one of my favorite bronzers. I try to not use it all the time just because, again, what's in this palette and I don't want it to like run out. But here is that shade. It's just in the summertime it was really good for me because I was so dark, but it's the right amount of warmth without being too like orangey. And then sometimes I can mix in this shade right here or this shade, just depending on what I'm going for, and like tone it down, make it a little bit lighter. And then they also have this like blushy shade. I don't really use the blush shade, but sometimes I'll pick up a little bit of it with my brush when I'm doing my bronzer. But I love this palette. This is the darkest palette in this one. They have two different ones. And this is the medium to deep face palette. But I love this. I think last time I checked it was actually on sale too. But I really, really wish they would come out with this shade in a bronzer because I love it. Oh my gosh, you guys. Also, you know how I reviewed, or not reviewed, but I did a mail haul with the Khloe Kardashian collection. So freaking good. I almost want to put that in my favorites, even though I've only been using it a couple weeks. So good, you guys. So yeah, that is the Be a Light palette by Becca. Okay, we're getting down to some of the final products. Okay, how could we forget foundations? There's no way that I could narrow this field down. So I grabbed the three that I use the absolute most throughout the year. So Nars Longwear, what is it called? What is this called? Okay, so the Nars Natural Radiant Longwear Foundation. This has to be one of my favorite products of 2018. This changed the game for me. It actually took over my Double Wear. Double Wear used to be my holy grail foundation. It's something I could not live without, and I've actually been wearing this way more in 2018 than I did the Estee Lauder. I probably only wore the Estee Lauder a handful of times because I wore this. Again, I've bought this personally, like I've bought this in 4 different shades, like trying to figure out my exact shade, but I use all of them. And it's very full coverage, but very thin. So the Estee Lauder one's a little bit of a thicker consistency, but this one's very thin, and it does give your face just a little bit of a glow, but it stays on very long. So when it says it is a longwear foundation, like it does not play. Love this. Right now I'm using the shade Punjab, but I have, like I said, quite a few different shades. I also, as you can see, have been loving, it's what I have on today, the Matte CC Cream by It Cosmetics. To me, this is a good everyday foundation because it is a good color for me. It normally matches my skin pretty good. It is matte and it is full coverage, so I've been loving this. Again, I've only been using this, I can't even remember how long, but I'm almost out of it, so I use it every single day. And then the last one, which I do need to get a new shade in because both of the shades I own are way too dark. This is the Becca Ultimate Coverage 24-Hour Foundation. This one, again, is another really good one to stay on all day and give you that real full coverage. I'm not a medium or a light coverage kind of girl. I like to have a full face of makeup on if I'm wearing it. And this one lasts a really long time. Again, I'm really sad because I don't have it in my color. I need to go get shade matched, but I love this year, or last year technically. Another blush palette and highlight palette that I fell in love with. I've only been using this a couple months, but you guys, I love it. I actually did get it for one of my friends for Christmas. This is the Hot Tryst Nars palette. It is their holiday palette. I'm not sure if it's still available. If not, I'm really, really sorry. But it just has so many different blush shades. that I loved, and it had 2 amazing highlight shades. These purples are like my everything, especially when I have a tan, which is not right now, but here's what those shades look like. They're so creamy, very buttery. They're just that almost like MAC extra skin dimension type feel to them. And then the highlights also are beautiful and very blonding. So this palette is one that I just feel like they knocked it out of the park on. I almost wish that the highlights were a little bit more like a light baby gold. This one I feel like it's an overkill on the gold, and this one's like too white, but I still mix them together and get like my perfect type of glow. But again, love this palette. I think just the aesthetic, how it looks, you can tell because it had like a bunch of ridges in it and they're kind of slowly going away as I use them. But all of the colors, again, I normally use. Love this. Love everything. All right, so I could not do a 2018 favorites video without giving the Jaclyn Hill palette from Morphe a shout out. Now I know that I feel like so many people have so many different mixed feelings on the palettes, on Morphe in general, but let's be honest, if I'm going to talk about a palette I used throughout the entire year, it's definitely this one. It's the one that I have on my eyes today, and if I don't know what I'm doing on a daily for a look, this is the one that I use. Now, what I'll say is I don't get any use out of these shades, like at all, really. Obviously, these 2 are my favorite, but this little corner right here, this section of 9, it's like my go-to, and I also love mixing these 2 together all over the lid. That's what I did today to just give me a different look. I love this palette. I don't know if there's duds or not duds, but this palette is one of my absolute favorites. It's a palette that I always go to if I don't know what I'm doing for a look, and I feel like Jaclyn did an amazing job. I really should start using some of the other like pops of color and stuff, but I really did like this palette, and I used it throughout the entire year of 2018. I really should get the better one, like the one that they did that I think is like a plastic coating, because obviously this one's like so dirty, but I loved this palette this past year. Another one that came into my life at the end of the year was the Nude Huda Beauty palette. This one has been a palette that I've really enjoyed. It has a lot of my colors in it, and I feel like nobody can do the shades like Huda does with her shimmers. That was a really crap swatch. Give me 1 second. Let me redo that. But she does a phenomenal job with shimmers and just the overall consistency. I do love her mattes too. I feel like some of the other palettes didn't have as good of mattes, but these ones I really, really like. So this was a palette that I feel like I could recommend to anyone to wear on like a day-to-day basis if you like those more like purpley tones, and I love this one. I could do without the glitter shades, but overall it's one of my favorite palettes. I like the Huda Beauty eyeshadows in general. Like all of her palettes have been like favorites of mine. Okay, very last, the top 2 lip formulas to take the cake in 2018. Huda Beauty and Nars were my absolute favorites. So the Huda Beauty Demi Matte Lipstick, it is a lip gloss, like a liquid lipstick, but moussey, and it doesn't dry down all the way. Oh my gosh, this was like life-changing for me in 2018. I just am not about the liquid lipstick life. I like something that I can just like move my lips on, still looks kind of glossy, comfortable. I don't love the tingle sensation. This one's in the shade Bonnie. I honestly like every single one of hers. I did a video swatching all of them, and I like genuinely love all of them, except maybe like the red shade I don't really gravitate toward. This is this shade She-O. It's like a more darker shade, but chances are in most of all of my videos I'm wearing 2 different things. One, which I don't have up here, totally a favorite of mine, Dolly Danger Buxom lip liner is like the only lip liner that I ever wear. If you ever see me with like a pinky mauve shade and it has a gloss over it, it's always just a lip liner with gloss over it typically. I love the shade Mongol, and I actually was freaking out today because I feel like I'm missing a couple of these colors, and I was hunting all over the house for them today. I don't know where they are, but I'm either going to have to order new shades or find them. So there are 3 shades. I love all of them. Like I said, there's one that I really, really loved, and I could not think of the name of it. I could not locate today. But the formula in general is beautiful. And then I also really liked the Power Matte Lip Pigments by Nars. This one's in the shade Save the Queen, but any of them I think are really beautiful. I like the formula because it's just very thin, dries down fast, and it feels good on the lips. So there is that. But Huda Beauty and Nars. Those are my favorite 2 lipsticks of the year. So anyways, I'm really sorry that this video came so late, you guys. Things have just been kind of crazy, but I posted it on Instagram if it was too late or if you wanted to see it, and you guys were like, yes, let's see it. And since I hadn't did a favorites, like a monthly favorites in a while, I definitely wanted to get this one up. But let me know down below, do you guys still like favorites? Should I start doing them every single month again? Because I really want to get back to that. And let me know your favorite down below in the comments. So I love you guys. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.